fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy skin and we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What people do in no money, what they at you, in no at you. Covid money, miss away in the yellow rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste my must have man statue. Say me like a cash, but they got in a figure you. Take this spit of money, God and say that is not you. One day the man above me up him, I got up. Too much it in the kitchen, some fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% free.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy skin and we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them no deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in our fever. Member bowl only and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start and thief when them sell.
It burn me.
Or they treat the market man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the cat man.
It burn me.
Or they treat the peanut man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the dirt man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat the sound man.
It burn me.
Or them a treat policeman.
Stibby-dim day, stibby-dim day, stibby-dim day. We in Global TV say certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good night, and welcome. Thank you for joining us on the Global Television Group this evening. It is the People's Point of View. It is election night in Britain, is result night. Labour is projected a landslide on the exit poll, but the aftermath of BERYL takes precedent tonight on global television. We can discuss Britain's new government tomorrow morning after the former Director of Prosecution, Keir Starmer, now going for the, will be taking the top job tomorrow morning when he goes to meet Prince Charles and say, I'm willing to form your government. But the cleanup campaign of Jamaica takes precedent tonight. I'm honestly stressed because, yes, dribbling information is coming out of my community now, not much, but the most I can tell you, my people, my community is devastated. Devastated. BERYL, I draw. Yes, I voted about 2 weeks ago because I normally do postal voting. But I protest voted for the Social Democracy Party because of the three major parties, the Conservative, which I wouldn't vote for, the Labour that I normally vote for, or the Liberal Democrat that I would consider on the issue of Palestine, I could not have voted for any of those three. So I voted for the Socialism Party. But yes, Angela, St. Elizabeth mash up, Parottee get at. This is nothing compared to Gilbert. Gilbert was playing Dolly House compared to what is coming out of my community because of the signal and thing. They haven't managed to get us much. But one of the young lady from my community, one of my neighbor, put up some images of what's happening. Hold on a second. This is actually along our street in our community. This guy you see stepping over the wire here to the left is my cousin who was updating me this morning. So those are the lampposts in our community. There's a video clip. This is them trying to go down Crane Road, but they're being blocked.
No, hilltop myself. Everywhere. Hilltop myself with you.
It's a hilltop wreck. You have to walk into Parottee. What? You're all trying to get to Parottee.
No, hilltop myself. Everywhere. Hilltop myself with you.
It's a hilltop wreck. You have to walk it.
So those are just a few of the devastation really taking place in my community at the moment. Just a few. We haven't managed to get we haven't managed to get proper images out of the community yet, but the little you can get from the community, everybody is just using the word devastation. Devastation is, hold on a second, what is happening here? Okay. I will definitely try my best on that, Angela. But I heard that Watchwell was battered as well, Mountainside. The Gleaner was moving around as much as they can. The Gleaner was moving around as much as they can, showing all of what was going on. But it is across St. Elizabeth. It has left a weft of devastation in its track, really. No good in our community again. Our community mash up. Everybody either tell you it mash up, or them I tell you a big devastation. And everybody is saying it is worse than Gilbert. Hold on, I soon get back into the comments. Just bear me a sec. Everybody is just telling you it's bare devastation. So many people, even in the community or one of our communities, Spice Grove, many of the houses in Spice Grove has lost their roof. That is common across the community. My cousin Myrna, who is always here, she lost one of their house roof, 2 shops. Lots of devastation. Lots of devastation. The phone services, as I understand it, are coming back up. The biggest challenge is the power outage, particularly. We know that the Green don't want how much to speak the truth. The power outage is the biggest problem at the moment because so many lines are down that is causing major havoc. Many trees are also down that is causing a lot of problem with people moving across the entire region, really. The amount of lampposts that are down, it's going to take time, I think, to get all of these things back up and running. Hold on. So it's the power that is the major issue with the communication system in Jamaica right now, to be honest. And with so many power lines down, because throughout our community, all the way to Crane Road, there are power lines down. So I know JPS rather, in our neck of the woods, have an awful lot of work to do before they can restore power. But I'm hoping they can bring in all the necessary equipment that will allow them to make sure they get our community and the rest of St. Elizabeth moving again. Moving around St. Elizabeth at the moment is very tricky. It's difficult for my people from my community making their way to Black River if you're not doing it on foot. Black River people, some people from Black River has tried to venture this morning to go and see what it's like in Parottee. They have to turn back as well, because if you're not doing it on foot, it is not possible at the moment, or you may have to even pan yang they say difficult the way how some of the tree and some of the lampposts fall. Even yang difficulty, I know. So a massive cleanup effort needs to commence. We just cannot get information as to what it really is, what is really going on, to be honest with you. What I can say, everybody in our community came out of it safe. The community has lost an awful lot. People in the community have lost an awful lot. There's severe damages to a lot of people's property. So a part of aiding the rebuilding efforts in our community, in conjunction with our moderator, Cousin Jamie, and Global TV, we are seeking funding through GoFundMe to assist with the rebuilding of our community after the ravage left by Hurricane BERYL. in the top of the chat, I have pinned or GoFundMe link. We're asking for donation to assist with the rebuilding of our community. A vast sway of people in our community will require assistance. And we are asking for anyone out there in the world who can help us, no matter what you can drop in the fund. It will be very much appreciated because our community from Gilbert onward, we have weathered many storms. We have never seen anything like this before. The community have never been ravished or damaged like this before, where so many property damage, so many people are left without a home tonight in our community. So we are asking that anyone that hears this video now and in the after, we're asking you if you can assist in our GoFundMe campaign to assist with the rebuilding of our community of Parottee in the constituency of Southwest St. Elizabeth, where we have been ravished and thrown all about by Hurricane BERYL. We won't be sitting on our hands and waiting for the government. We will be holding them to account for what they are supposed to do. But as a community, we see us having a responsibility in assisting in the rebuilding efforts of our community. This is not just one and two people in our community that needs assistance at the moment, a broad sway of the community. A broad sway of the community from Seaside to Spice Grove to Hilltop to Little Bridge. The only place we don't properly get an assessment on yet is another community called Gravesend. We haven't got an assessment on Gravesend yet, but Seaside, Crane Road, Hilltop, Parottee, Little Bridge, Springfield, everywhere mash up. Everywhere mash up. Many people houses, all house side and side. Two neighbors can't run to one another because the two of them roof blow off at the same time. Compounded by a severe lack of communication across the country, which compound the anxiety that those of us in the diaspora is experiencing at the moment. How much of you on here have managed to speak to your family? Is there anyone here who is in Jamaica at the moment and can tell us how your community held up? What's the damage in your community? But it doesn't look good. JPS said they're carrying out damage assessment. Police are trying to ID body that washed up on beach. That's in Portmore and Port Henderson Beach. who said and gone back to service. The United Nations unlocked $4 million US to help Jamaica and other Caribbean countries impacted by BERYL. So you can start check up Andrew money, 1.9 million, 150 million US, plus you might go get a portion of this 4 million as well. I don't have to keep an eye on anything. Hurricane BERYL devastate Manchester and St. Elizabeth. Can remember say from alligator upon the eye of the storm. The eye of the storm bruise from alligator pan go all the way down. Whole heap of bamboo. Whole heap of bamboo now with Allen bamboo tear down. It's just devastation across the country, but more so in St. Elizabeth, who got the eye of the storm. We mash up, good mash up. One of the things that the people in our community are saying, this wasn't a category 4 hurricane. It have to be more powerful because this is more powerful than Gilbert and any other hurricane that we've been through, and we've been through a lot. Digicel working to restore service areas affected by Hurricane BERYL. But let's see, this is a test for this administration as well, to see how well they can get the country back on its feet. JPS has an awful lot of work to do. I think by tomorrow, the airports, Norman Manley will reopen tomorrow. I think Sangster reopen today, I think. If I'm not, hold on, update. Operation at Sangster International resume. Yeah, Sangster International resume service this evening. Thinking they resume service tomorrow. But anybody, because I'm not seeing anything, I don't know if I miss it. Is there an official update from the Office of the Prime Minister? Result from UK election expected early Friday morning. No. Hold on, update. Police seeking digital working. Bank of Jamaica. Anyone seen any official update from the Office of the Prime Minister? I don't think I have. I'm not saying it's not out there, but I don't think. King Charles sent heartfelt condolences to countries affected by hurricane. Social Security Minister BERYL spearhead post hurricane relief. Two gunmen. Let me look in the comment. Is there anyone aware of any? Phil Line says no. No official statement or damage assessment from the Prime Minister as yet. Not as yet. What about Hurricane St. Andrew? St. Andrew. Anybody hear of anything? Not much was done in my community. We're fortunate to have power and cable and internet service throughout. Okay. Has anyone heard what happened to the doggies that were on the raft. Anyone heard what happened to the dogs that were on the raft? As his finger touched the dog bill, forward behind. Kingston most in Clarendon, but everyone. Anyone have any report from Lionel Town and Rocky Point? But I think they should be okay. Completely concrete. Even a lot of the concrete house in my community, a lot of them will have the galvanized zinc roof. Most of them lose them roof. Like the more modern tiled roof, those people bear through. But majority people with the zinc roof, them they're gone. Them they're gone. And what one of my cousins said to me, said, the distance where the roof that where the house top them fly go from the house them. It was just devastating. It barely leave any tree standing in our community as well. It just flatten everything, vegetation wise, just flatten everything in its path. Let me go down to the bottom of the comment and see if there's any response. I can tell you they are not Christian. You can't be Christian and be gay. Sorry if I offend. The dog them smart, they know the raffle that go away. I was young when Gilbert, but we lost our prize. Well, in this time, in Britain, more fruit cheese up down at Jamaica this trip. St. Elizabeth lost up Holy Patry. Holy. You see, too, we get the eye, you see, we get a serious battering. We get a serious battering because the eye draw himself over with. Lionel Town and Rocky is messed up. Lot of folks lost their homes and farm food. How is the flooding in Rocky Point, Lionel Town, Andrea? Have you heard? Because they are very much flood prone on that plain, Rocky Point, Lionel Town. Do you know if that river held up? That river that normally flood Lionel Town to Rocky Point. Do you know if it held up? I am living in the USA, but I have a home in Parottee. Can't hear from anyone, so I don't know if my house is okay. Miss Ruby. Am I remember which part of Parottee, Miss Ruby? Which end of Parottee your house there? I can get a damage assessment check done when I get back to my family them at some point. Which section? Hilltop, Pice Grove, Seaside, which part? I have to put tracking device on you think if you find them, Kevin. No, sir. You have to take bad things back laugh, you know. But I know a lot of people lost a lot. Carl Allen, Alligator Pond get hard hit. Yes, Carl, because from Alligator Pond, from them area there, the ice start jog across that coastline from Alligator Pond, come all the way down like White House, so on, really get messed up. Really get messed up along that strip of coastline. We really got messed up. Watching Jamaica walk by, I think he was near Rocky Point. Many roads were blocked and people are cut off from going home. May I tell you, Black River can't get to Parottee, Parottee can't get to Black River. It's just a mess. I'm from Nain, St. Elizabeth. How Santa Cruz? Have you heard about anything in the Santa Cruz and in your area of Nain? You know, if no damage done here, if no damage done to states. One of the Adventist church in a few community as well, the roof blow off. The Adventist church down a seaside. The roof blow off. People with them small shops, them they get wrecked up and mash up. A whole heap of galangin go on. Whole heap of galangin. Anybody they hear from Westmoreland and Negril or anybody get any information? But I know in parts of Westmoreland, a lot of JPS poles were also down as well. I know I see Gleaner image where quite a few people were quite a few lampposts were down. I'm still waiting to hear any news from BERYL and St. Elizabeth, checking on my dad's family. I haven't heard anything from that area, but the one of the news coming out of St. Elizabeth, most of St. Elizabeth get hit hard. Most of St. Elizabeth, Cheddar Beach, all of them areas along that south coast line coming right down Black River, White House, all of those areas. No, because I haven't heard anything being trying to get through to my cousin to get an update. I only get a text from Cousin Myrna this evening, not even a voice note or an image. And it's a beer mashup. Even two of them shot them down a yard, mash up. And they don't crack me, the poor innocent dog. It's stranded out to sea and get an emergency team to rescue them. They look lost. Yes, 60% of JPS customers are out of service. And that is one of the biggest problems with communication across the country. Until JPS services are resumed and given the amount of lampposts they're going to have to replace or stabilize, and you know how feet jogging down the street near Elder Side Hotel, New Yellow House on the lakeside. But I will have a check done. Miss Ruby. But electricity is down in many places and people are unable to charge up their phones. Yeah, that is one of the biggest problems with communication. So on Parottee Road. I will definitely have it have that checked out. A lot of Parottee just mayhem. Both of Southfield, Malvern, Monroe get hit. Yes, the whole of it on the south. So, Miss Ruby, you say you're there near Idler's Rest. Where the on the beach side or on the mangrove side? I'm desperate to hear anything from Hanover. Anyone know of any information out of Hanover? Because Hanover got a lot of over for your host, the guy Nigel used to be caretaker, Miss Ruby? Or is it next door? But I know where you're talking about once you send your eyeglass rest. But I'll get my when I speak back to my family, I'll get a check on the status. I'll get a check on the status of those property. But whole heap of damage throughout our community, from Spice Grove to Parottee to Hilltop to Little Bridge. It's just through the entire community. No, we're not safe. No, we don't safe. The better part of this for my community is that we came through it without anyone being hurt or any loss of life, given the severity of the damage. I have one person I know in Hanover that I haven't been able to reach. Given the severity of the damage in our community, it is very gracious and thankful that we have come through this. We have come through this without any loss of life or any injury to anyone in the community. I'm still waiting to hear of some proper assessment from the office of the Prime Minister or from government, because what I would have expected this morning is for the Jamaica Defence Force to do an aerial assessment, because obviously you really cannot move around the country on road at the moment until a lot of clearing up is done. But I would have thought that the Jamaica Defence Force would have done an aerial assessment of the country, particularly the areas of Jamaica that was in the eye of the storm, so that the Prime Minister can have informed information to update the public. Some of crew is missing. I hope they are doing also their family. Oh, you're on the lake side. Okay. I'll have my cousin check that as soon as it's practicable to speak to them. With all them helicopter, the JLP has, I thought they would do an aerial assessment. Is what I thought, because I thought within, say, the first 6 hours or so today, that type of assessment would have been done so the nation can be given an update as to the status of the damage island-wide. Of course, we know all the municipal corporations across the country with the with the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, and all the National Work Agency and everybody, JDF, JPS and everybody who has to take part in this clean up and cleared up effort to get the country back on its feet again. Well, given that, Brenda, given that money will not be a problem in the recovery and rebuilding efforts of Jamaica, the Prime Minister and his team now need to show leadership and good management. It is fair to give them time in order to get their head around things, particularly clearing the roadways and get the JPS lines back up on and stabilized. Given that money will not be a problem, it is for the government, his MPs across the country, and the local government across the country with all the different agencies that needs to coordinate the clear up and rebuilding effort. Good management should take them through this while there is not a problem with finances. We are asking for a lot from this unorganized, incompetent government. Well, this is something which they can stamp themselves on to say, we've got it together. We can do it. We can deliver. We can get it done for the people. What is required here is good management, coordination, good operational strategy on the ground. Good operational strategies on the ground, good coordination, good management. Not only that, but the willpower to get the job done. They can coordinate that. Money is not really the problem. Dealing with this rebuilding and cleanup effort. They must scheme how familiar this is. Not that. I think where's the whole side of a pop out in grey here and put in a lap for count the money? No, sir. But may I give them time and not rush them? Even though I have some questions to ask the Prime Minister tonight, because in the era of fake news, misinformation, disinformation, we need to get information right. Getting information right is important. Given that the Prime Minister has allocated from the Constituency Development Fund 5 million to each constituency, 5 million is nothing to deal with what happening in my community. You know. $5 million, Prime Minister, cannot, on the Southwest constituency of St. Elizabeth, Mr. Green would be confused tonight as how to use that $5 million when he look at just Parottee alone. Mr. Green has to look at Watchwell, Pedro Plain, Treasure Beach, Flaggerman, Mountainside, Williamsfield, Barbary Hall, the whole of those area, Prime Minister, Parottee, Black River, Brompton, the entire constituency of Flight Green have been ravished, Prime Minister. Vegetation mash up, livestock, fishing in livelihood. What do you think 5 million, Prime Minister, can really do, or how far do you think 5 million can really go, even in the cleanup efforts, Prime Minister? We're not even talking about rebuilding here. I hope a heavy lifting equipment and galang in. I think go on in a few community alone in the Prime Minister. It'll go on right across the constituency. It'll go on right across Southwest St. Elizabeth. 5 million is a spit in the ocean. Me not tell no lie. Flight Green will be confused as to how that $5 million is going to even clean up his constituency. Floyd should have the biggest cleanup to do in all of this disaster left by Hurricane BERYL. 5 million, Prime Minister. 5 million won't be able to clean up Parottee and rebuild Parottee. It's just not. Just cannot. It just cannot, Prime Minister. You will have to look at the Constituency Development Fund until the indemnity is paid out. Until the catastrophe bond is being paid out and the money from the UN is being released. From the Constituency Development Fund, Prime Minister, you will need to rethink and reallocate the appropriations for the relief fund. $5,000. St. Elizabeth is a disaster zone. 5 million, Prime Minister, cannot go anywhere. Cannot go anywhere, Prime Minister, to clean up just one division. Not even say one division, one community, because when you go to Hilltop, Liquor Bridge, Spice Grove, Seaside, Crane Road, Black River, $5 million can't do nothing to this. So. Never mind, we don't go Barbary Hall yet, we don't go Williamsfield, we don't go Mountainside, we don't go Panside, we don't go Greenfield, we don't go Wattswell, we don't go Hopewell, we don't go Newcomb Valley, we don't go Flaggerman, we don't go Treasure Beach, we don't go Bacon, we don't go... Prime Minister, 5 million, sir? No, Prime Minister, go back, go sleep and dream again. You have to go dig deeper. Juliet, we don't say you look after Constituency Development Fund up there, ma'am. As a woman, as the mother of the nation, one of the biggest calamity of this government post-COVID, rethink on the allocation from the Constituency Development Fund. Don't even talk about Choybridge, the eyesore of Brand Jamaica. Choybridge is the eyesore of Brand Jamaica. But what we're asking you all, peaceful tonight, Miss Holness, the mother of the nation, as chair of the Constituency Development Fund, rethink on the allocation made by the Prime Minister in the preemption of the damage. But in hindsight, Prime Minister and Mrs. Holness, the damage is much more severe than what was predicted. Therefore, a reallocation from the Constituency Development Fund ought to be relooked at given the severity of the damage. I'm sure not only for Flight Green constituency, which is one of the hardest hit, but given what we have been seeing coming from across the country, we seriously need to look at reallocation of the money coming from the Constituency Development Fund, because Mr. Green is going to struggle. Mr. Green in particular is going to struggle to know how I'm going to use $5 million with this devastation across my constituency. And a 1 or 2 community in a Floyd Green constituency mash up, Floyd Green entire constituency mash up. Prime Minister, what can $5 million do? Are you at the door? Okay, hold on. I will take a break and join you back shortly, my people.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. Hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
What people do in no money, what they at you, in no at you. COVID money, miss away in the year, look rat you. Use the youth, the money, waste and bust a man to statue. Say me like a catch you, but they got in a figure you. Take this print of money, got and say that is not you. One day the man above end up, him a got up. Too much it in the kitchen, some a fiber like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me.
300% free.
It burn me.
Garbage pile up the day.
It burn me.
Give the teacher them raise.
It burn me.
I see corruption face.
It burn me.
Mash down the people them house.
It burn me.
Every day appear arms out.
It burn me.
Appear money them a thief.
It burn me.
And them a sell out the beach.
Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scandal, we can't buy time. You can't fool me again. Can't fool me again. You can't fool me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't fool me again.
For me say big up all the charities and all of the givers. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, the rapper, they down in a whatever. Member bowl only and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me.
On the trade market man.
It burn me.
On them a trade they cat man.
Thank you very much and welcome back. Thank you for holding on. Yes, as I was saying, just get internet back. Sharon Bernard, welcome back, welcome back. How is the damage in your area? Evan Bradford, how is things going? Have you heard anything? How is the damage in your area? And how has the cleanup and clear up efforts been going on? Now, the Prime Minister had an interview with a foreign station. Matthew Samuda also had an interview with a foreign station. Those of you who understand mathematics, because this is where I will become confused, take out your papers and your pens and please capture numbers and percentage for me. I can't leave them hard work that to dance. Certainly tonight. I can't leave them hard work that to dance. But in the era of the Prime Minister's interest in us, Carlos, how you do? In the era of the Prime Minister's interest in us giving the correct information, we want to ask the Prime Minister tonight, which of these information are we supposed to rely on? Get your pens and your papers out. Capture numbers and percentage tonight. Numbers and percentage. Because in an era of fake truth, misinformation, disinformation, and political propaganda, we want to know which information are we supposed to rely on. Is it the information coming from the Prime Minister, the information from the Minister of Water, or the information from Minister of Local Government, Desmond McKenzie. Which of those three information is the correct one? Or is it, Prime Minister, if either of we're choosing must be read in line with the others that we're not choosing? That could be one explanation to it. Or is it just one? Because in the era of where things is flying here, there, and everywhere, like it is in the wind, it is important that we're careful things not liquid in our eye, the way how them are fly bout and bout the place. So I want to play 3 different clips to find out from the Prime Minister which of these information is correct and which of we ought to rely on.
Jamaican Prime Minister Andrew Holness, who joins us live from Kingston. Prime Minister, thanks so much for your patience and for talking to us at what is most probably a very busy time for you right now. Can you just tell us how prepared the island is and what preparedness you're at the moment?
So the government is at its highest level of alert and preparedness. All our entities that are responsible for disaster and emergency response are mobilized. We have 900 shelters right across the island. I would say that about 90% of them are mobilized and ready. So from a government perspective, the government is ready. The government also engaged in an intensive informationalization campaign with our citizens for the last 3 or 4 days. So from a household level, the Jamaican households have information about how to protect themselves, how to protect their property, and how to respond after the hurricane has passed. My own assessment is that every Jamaican is taking the necessary steps to protect themselves and their property and to be able to recover quickly after the hurricane. So I think the island is prepared. We are informed. Right now, we have started to experience hurricane conditions, but not yet severe. So we are still some way out, maybe 3 or 4 hours out from actually experiencing severe hurricane conditions. We are expecting that by virtue of the category of this hurricane, which is projected now to be at category 4, and when it reaches Jamaica, it could potentially downgrade to category 3, still a dangerous hurricane, which would cause storm surges, heavy rain, potential destruction to coastal infrastructure and residential and commercial properties. And in the interior, we may very well experience landslides. But we do have plans for that, and we are prepared.
So, Prime Minister, I don't mean to interrupt, but in terms of that preparedness, there will be a different policy for those that are living in urban areas to those that are living on the coastline. How are you advising people who are living on the coastline that would have to move, perhaps, would you say, to the interior? And what sort of numbers are we talking about?
Well, we have identified all our low-lying areas, and that is essentially on the southeastern coast of Jamaica, where we would have potential significant damage. There are shelters in proximity to these areas at higher ground, and we have implemented under our Disaster Risk Management Act an evacuation order. Once we have made the assessment, and we have made some assessments, then we will enforce those orders and assist residents in relocating. But outside of that, for the last 3 or 4 days, we have been imploring residents, and some have responded and have moved voluntarily.
Prime Minister, Jamaica is no stranger to hurricanes of various levels historically. What lessons have been learned in the past that have actually for you right now? Can you just tell us how prepared the island is and what preparedness you're at the moment?
So the government is at its highest level of alert and preparedness. All our entities that are responsible for disaster and emergency response are mobilized. We have 900 shelters right across the island. I would say that about 90% of them are mobilized and ready.
900 shelters. Of the 900 shelters, 90% is mobilized and activated, ready to go island-wide. 900 with 90% ready to go. Let's listen to the Minister of Water.
Matthew Samuda and meteorologist Evan Thompson, both with Jamaica's Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Senator Samuda, I'll start with you because you've been leading the hurricane preparation. What are people and businesses in your country doing to prepare for this monster hurricane?
Well, you know, there's a great deal of anxiety as we have seen the impact of this storm in Barbados, in St. Vincent, and of course in Grenada. So citizens, businesses alike have been putting in place all of their hurricane preparatory steps. So there's a great deal of activity at the supermarkets, great deal of activity at our hardware stores, and people are putting in place the protection mechanisms that we know work. At the government level, we've been focused on clearing major drains right throughout our townships. We've been ensuring that all of our government buildings are indeed protected by way of being boarded up, ensuring that roofs are secure. We're doing what we can, but ultimately we've also been focused on ensuring that citizens have the information. So those who are in low-lying areas, those who are in flood-prone areas, go to any of our 780 plus shelters, because ultimately saving lives is our first priority. Property is.
Joining me now is Senator Matthew Samuda and meteorologist Evan.
780 plus shelters island-wide. So there is, come on to help me minus, yeah. Remember to me full. So 900 minus 780, it will go left about 120 or so. 780 plus. Let us drop off the plus. Because we don't know what the plus means, just like in the ITQU plus. So we have left about 120 what a discrepancy. Yes, so. I'm half key like them. Remember me don't stuck at them to you know. Remember say, me don't slide them. So, me talk gibberish like them too. Hold on, I need to pull up the Minister of Bagarans. Different view. What Minister Furtherance there? I'm sure it's in this interview with Duns Shenila Pullen. Hold on there.
So we're now joined by local government minister Desmond McKenzie, who is actually fresh from a briefing with the staff at Parottee. Minister, thank you so much for speaking with us. First of all, coming out of your briefing, what is the latest?
Well, so far I've been updated on the number of shelters. We are close to now some 60 odd shelters across the country. My information also is that at least 85% of our shelters are in operation, and this is right across the country. One of the concerns I have when it came out of the meeting, and during that meeting I had a telephone conversation with the mayor of Kingston and the councillor for that section in this Kingston as it relates to Port Royal. Two buses went to Port Royal from here early this morning. The Jamaica Flag Brigade was there, the team was there. The mayor spent words I have when it came out.
First of all, coming out of your briefing, what is the latest?
Well, so far I've been updated on the number of shelters. We are close to now some 60 odd shelters across the country. My information also is that at least 85% of our shelters are in operation, and this is right across the country. One of the concerns.
Good night and welcome to Doppimats. Good night and welcome to Doppimats. Wanna draw out on a book? All right. The Prime Minister says, this is Doppimats, you know. If you never got Doppy school, if you never got Doppy school, you not gonna understand Doppimats today. Good evening and welcome to Doppimats. Okay. The Prime Minister says we have to learn maths in zigzag. The Prime Minister says 900 shelters across the island. 90% is activated and ready to go. So 810 of the lot is ready, counter Prime Minister bombshell. But then Minister Dashwa Water said 780, we don't know how much is the plus. The plus could be from 1 to 9. 780. So we're down 120 from the Prime Minister utterance. Or am me do Doppimats tonight? Look how the whole of there and not talk to me. And me do Doppimats, you know. And me I institute Doppimats tonight. Not the Prime Minister and the whole of them we are walking and conjure up the Doppimats, give we. Because they have something you call for more coffee tonight. They may adopt a maths. Okay. So the discrepancy between the Prime Minister and the Minister of Dashwa Water is 120 in numbers. We're not going to work out the percentage plus. But then you move on to Minister of Kickbacking. 60 plus across the island. So that's a discrepancy from the Prime Minister of 840. Then when you move over to Minister of Dashwa Water, there's a discrepancy of 720. In an era, of misinformation, 3 government ministers, including the Prime Minister, is speaking. 900 minus 120. Jesus, Doppyman stood up tonight. 900 minus 120 plus equal percent. Multiply 100. Murder! No, sir. I first I get laughed for morning. Whoa! The Doppyman stood up, bro, that tonight. Heaven clear. Because no, sir. Brenda got it up in school as well. Murder. Murder to war hit as Bev would have say. Murder to war hit people. Why? No, sir. Meeting of me one guard up in school. Murder. I don't be one up in Teach Road, yeah. Why? Help. Lad, me turn fool tonight. Me tell you, say me and Max don't go together. Murder. Murder to our people. No, sir. Me think of me one did God up him at school. Because them are working out here, you know. Them ya hope a zigzag here, there, and all over the place. I have to dopey match them ya. And only me and Brenda we got dopey school understand what the Prime Minister, the Minister of Water, and the Minister of Local Government is talking about. The only commonality in what they're talking about is that they make one reference to shelter and two reference to number. What else? That's the only commonality. Number and shelter. Barring that, Prime Minister, on all over the place, who is fake news here? Who is misinformation and who is disinformation? Who, Prime Minister, is making it pretty for foreign and who is being real to the Jamaican people as to what it actually is? What is going on, Prime Minister? Dopey administration. What the Prime Minister would then say if he is questioned further as a spin doctor, he will just allocate schools across the country as shelter. And it would be backs your uncle easy for the Prime Minister to calculate his 900 shelters for you. Easy for the Prime Minister conjure up him 900 shelter. Or Matthew Samuda can conjure up him 780 at shelter. Or Desmond McKenzie can conjure up his 60 plus shelter. Which of the numbers are we working with? It's only people who understand dopeyism and know say when dopey count to 2 matches stick, you have to walk up and down in the Jamaican folktale and search for the 3rd matches stick because the 3rd matches stick in your mouth. So to the 3rd matches stick in the dopey mouth, nobody can get it right. The numbers all over the place because the dopey still a walk and a search for that matches stick where in your mouth. And without that matches stick, dopey now go get the number right. It's just simple. You have to go to dopey school if you understand the mathematics. It's only difficult if you never go dopey school. But as long as you go dopey school, you have no problem in understanding the conundrum in what these people are called shelter. Well, wholeness will make it when he want it in a Lackland because him good at making things into how him want it to be. But it is important to know from the Prime Minister in the era of misinformation, disinformation, and fake news, which of those 3 information with regards to shelters across the country are we supposed to take has the right information? Which of the three offices of government, which of the three offices of government is giving us the right information? When it comes to the allocation, Prime Minister, of funding across the country in the rescue and rebuilding efforts across the country, will we have honesty between you, the Prime Minister, and other MPs across the country who money will be allocated to? Will we have accountability as to how the 150 million indemnity will be appropriated across the country to aid the rebuilding of Jamaica? Money is not the issue here, Prime Minister. Management is what will prove whether, as a party and as a government, you all can get it right. It is upon you and your team, Prime Minister, who has the mandate to protect and serve the people, to make sure you get it right. You're not going to be able to come to us and say, do you have this information on the website? How would a citizen know where to go for the 900 shelters? I really don't know, Lachlan. I did not check any website. The Prime Minister would have to answer to the numbers before we even answer to the locations. The Prime Minister, when that is not going to happen. Well, we have to ask for those accountability mechanism, Faye. We have to ask. Beat and teach them to have power. A power affect beat and teach them, Pamela. A lot of our globalists across Jamaica is not here tonight because the power outage problem. I have managed to get in touch with her today either, as it is with a lot of people across the country. But I'm sure the more power is restored across the country, I'm sure as power, somebody is saying JIS, Lockland. GIS would have those information. But throughout this hurricane coverage, I don't see a lot of relevant information coming from the GIS, broadcasting-wise, rather, from GIS or from PBCJ, which are government broadcasts. So you, the taxpayer, pay for the upkeep of GIS broadcasters and PBCJ broadcaster, but I didn't see a meaningful coverage from them on the election issue. I didn't do much of a reading of what's on their site as to updated information with regards to the hurricane, I must admit. But on the broadcasting front, they were not doing an awful lot at all. Well, the Prime Minister was being interviewed by an international media, Lachlan. So, the Prime Minister will have to speak in hyperbole. No, it has come from Office of the Prime Minister. You can't get any info from GIS or PBCJ. Would he claim he is aiding residents who are in 900 shelters and are hurting from BERYL and our money get chopped? why the shelters were not listed on the prospective MP website page. Instead of them use it for threatening people above vloggers. CVM was showing a running list of the shelters from parish to parish. Don't know where CVM got the list from. Me would even bother over big yard in Georgia, cause me just can't bother watch over big yard because they over big yard nonsense. We're going over there. Me just can't bother with the big yardism over CVM. When me with people over TVJ, me can't bother with the big yard. Can't bother with the big yardism over there, so. I be a big yardism going over there. Someone said to go to a shelter. Where would I go and how would I find the information? Me not go back CVM. Me can't take a big yard galangin. Long time big yard top keep and CVM still a keep big yards. So me not in a day in galangin there. Right now with CVM hear about a mass wedding in a Jamaica, we would have get more pictures and videos from the wedding. So me not have no time for them and them big yard galangin. CVM come out of broadcasting long time and I play a big yard. Especially if the married woman go over there. It was alright just stand behind zinc fence or behind zinc fence CVM. Tenement, yeah, TV station is what CVM has become. Yes, behind zinc fence CVM. CVM, the behind zinc fence. It's a serious concern. It's not a good. If I'm not in a good house, I need to find a shelter. So where to go? Seems just a lot of ego by the leader as usual. Well, you have to understand, say, foreign people, they talk to in a Auckland and him never talk to the Jamaican audience. Him just tell foreign people how him government look good. You have to take that into consideration. He was not talking to the Jamaican audience when he talk about him 900 Flagaraga and Maga. He was talking to a foreign audience, spin doctoring about things that doesn't exist. He was doctoring it up. He was doctoring it up. So he really never speak to the Jamaica people. And because he knows say we fool and we don't really research much, we don't really make go buck up on it. Only foreign people are going to hear about it. Only the people them we want to impress will hear about it. So you have to take in consideration so when the Prime Minister talk, him never talk for we hear about it. Neither him never talk to we. Jamaica is doing just fine. Our PM said that we have 900 shelters to take care of people. Don't forget that we are the superpower of the Caribbean. True, remember the Prime Minister have Tapalin for give way as well to so. You know the well. So he's putting misinformation out as usual. Well, may I ask Lachlan, whose information is correct? His 900 to the foreigners, the Minister of Water 780 plus to the foreigners, or the Minister of Local Government 60 plus when he was speaking to the Jamaican media. So we want to know whose information we should follow, or could we argue, Prime Minister, that one set of information for the foreigner when you're speaking to foreign station, and then another set of information for Jamaicans when you're speaking to Jamaican station? We just want to know We just want to know which of the information do we take the Desmond McKenzie information as the localized information for local people, and do we take the Prime Minister and his Dashwa Water Minister information as information served for the international community? It might well be so, because all within a matter of few hours, 3 of you who, if what government means and understand in such a disaster, there would have been an emergency cabinet briefing held of the government in how we're going to deal with the matter going forward. Given that all three of you are member of the cabinet, how could we have such a blunderful number from Al, Triano, Chink, Matt, Hag, Dag? Which is it? We're waiting for the Prime Minister to respond and tell us whose number are we to work with when it comes to shelter. And if we're to advise Jamaicans as to where their shelters are across the country, where, Prime Minister, do we go for that information? Where, Minister of Information? But even then, how you do? Boy, Mrs. Say lying is not your corner. You struggle to keep up, my dear. You struggle to make it look real. You struggle to make it look like Sinting Gosso. You struggle to make we believe, say you believe the things them, Dana Morris Dixon, that you are telling us. Your struggle to keep up it. You can't say you never do really lie on a normal basis. You can't say you never used to lie on a normal basis. And now because you're paid to do it, you have to do it. You have to do it carefully. You have to try and do it convincingly. But are you aware that we don't believe that you believe yourself? Where's the Auckland? They can go with Babsy Light and dance round the grotto really affected the Jamaica Labour Party. Babsy lighting the candle, dancing around the grotto, has caused utter devastation for the Jamaica Labour Party. Maybe the Minister of Gender, Sport and all sort of rigmaroles need to go back and dance around the grotto in reverse. Go back and dance around the grotto in reverse. It might just reverse the curse that came with you, Minister, dancing around the grotto. Dance around the grotto in reverse, Miss Babsy. That may be some form of help to you. Some form of help if you dance around the grotto. But if you have never heard it, Britain have a new Prime Minister tomorrow morning. The once Director of Public Prosecution, Keir Starmer, will on the trajectory of the exit poll, will be going to the Buckingham Palace tomorrow to say to Prince Charles, I am willing to form your government. and thereby will be woofed off back to Downing Street to choose his docile and whittling cabinet to get it on the road as they think they are going to get Britain on the road again. That is to be seen, because I know a politician come with a lot of promises and blunders and lies. But after 14 years of conservative rule and constant austerity, the entire country wants to see the back of the conservative with a 45 days Liz Truss and a very unpopular Richie Sunak. The conservative was bound to get a battering at the poll. It was near to a Tony Blair 1997 landslide. Labour has projected tonight to do well and become the next government tomorrow morning. But back to Prime Minister Andrew Holness. We want to be certain, Prime Minister, because as you have tried us in public the other day, brutally rebuked us, threatened death threat from your vloggers, Prime Minister, in the way how we must use our freedom of speech. Put information out there that is positive, Prime Minister. We don't want to put information out there that is propagandous. And if the Prime Minister, the Minister of Water, and the Minister of Local Government cannot get it right and number, what are we to believe? Should we go to social media to find out what the actual numbers are? Because we were sent to mainstream media to verify what the true sources of information are. But this evening, we are confused because all this confusion is coming out of a government who tried us on misinformation, fake news. How is it then that this very government is giving 3 different figures and a matter of shelters? Depends on which media speak, depends on which member of the government speak. The information is different. Who are we to believe? Babs need 2 white fowl, some candle, and the anointed candle there with fowl blood. Anoint the candle there with fowl blood, light it and jump over it. Remember to blow some white rum and pay the ancestor them. No, sir, Babsy, you have work to do. This is bigger than dancing in reverse round the grotto. This Babsy is bigger. You have to go dance coming at your son. In Babsy, you have to go dance coming at your son. Because dancing in reverse around the grotto will simply not take off the curse that you have placed on the Jamaica Labour Party. So you have to go kill fowl and blow rum out of your mouth. Babsy, burn candle with fowl blood. Pan it. No, sir. Babsy have work to do. You forget the information that we can come for barbecue. No, sir. Murder. Ramp. But we're waiting on the Prime Minister and his government to clarify that rather confusing misinformation, confusing information that we have received. I go practice with tell lie. The real What cycle being one in the head? Why you say I go practice to tell lie? The real cycle being that yeah. Why you say I go practice to tell lie? Mm. Lying is something where you can practice in. If you're just not a good liar, you're just not a good liar. And you can't tell lie what people ask you to tell. You have to just be a good liar and a good talker to know how to fib and spin your way sensible out of thing. Make all when it no go so it sound like true, but not labor. Labor, remember saying no. I am a boy. I am big. My name is Roy. See my name here. My name is Roy. I am a girl. I am big. See my name here. My name is Pam. Remember say JLP don't go very farther than I am a boy and I am a girl. And this is rat, this is cat, and this is Matt. You have to understand that level when it comes to thinking, because otherwise the things where them are one with both and are chastised with both, them wouldn't find this themselves doing the same thing in a brawling sun hat. So you have to take them something that in a consideration. Say we are dealing with Rye and Pam and them people there. Always bear that in mind. So we are dealing with Rye and Pam. And we have to understand how Rye and Pam operate. You understand? You have to understand Rye and Pam mentality. You can't just want Rye and Pam snail through. Tell the people to stay and get the government. You want to say they get line one. No, sir. My name is Roy. I am a boy. I have no neck. I just a big head. Murder. Cat, mat, rat, and them something there. When I have to remember say this so them stop. So I have to take them something there in a consideration. I am a girl. I am a boy. Cat, rat, mat. Take those in consideration. And then we won't beat up ourselves too much. We just say, I sir, here they go again. Honestly, if you're watching the trajectory of Labour since the local government election, is a falling down trajectory. What I'm hoping is that they can use good coordination, good management, and coordination in proving themselves to the people that at least there is something in us that is worth sellable or marketable. Hey, Marcia McKay, how are you? That there is something sellable or marketable, and it is for the Jamaican government to make sure they prove to the people with good management and leadership that we can get Jamaica back on its feet again. We can get power supply across the country up and running again. We can, from the indemnity and international support, we can assist Jamaicans across the country in the rebuilding effort, particularly across the parish of St. Elizabeth, which was brutally hit by the storm. And before I go tonight, I want to remind you of our GoFundMe pinned in the top of the chat. The title is Rebuilding Parottee from Hurricane BERYL. Parottee is my community, which is on the southwest coastal front that bear the brunt of BERYL and has been severely damaged when loss of house. Lots of people lost their house. Top in Bullsav. Yes, Master, right across St. Elizabeth, that devastation is common. The devastation of people losing their roofing or houses across the country, across St. Elizabeth, is very, very common. As you all are well aware, that we were brutally hit by Hurricane BERYL. So in any way that you can support or rebuilding efforts through our GoFundMe, we will certainly appreciate that. No, we haven't heard anything coming in from Chilani at the moment, to be honest. Not an awful lot coming island-wide. We were expecting that we would have received information from the Office of the Prime Minister as to an assessment, a damage assessment on across the country. But we're hoping by tomorrow they should be able, after giving, we haven't heard anything about Greater Portmore. We know Portmore took some good rain and wind. I don't know how the damage is across Portmore, but I know them take rain and wind. Kingston probably came out of this the best. Other country may have been saved the wrath. I'm not quite sure yet until we get those assessments. But certainly, Manchester, St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, those parishes have been severely. My sister phone rang, no answer. Most of the communication problem we're understanding also is because of the power cutoff for the country. I'm not looking for a speedy restoration of power because in St. Elizabeth and in Westmoreland, many power lines are down. So the JCF, I'm not aware of how it is in Mandeville. I'm quite sure there's other area across the island. So there are going to be extensive work needed by the JPS people before things can really get back to a normal stage of us having power in a lot of the 60% of Jamaica that is out of service from the Jamaica Public Service at the moment. So we are watching to see how the cleanup and recovery efforts is going, as well as we will also ongoing keep an eye on the rebuilding efforts. But we're going to keep an eye on the comment. Any update you have, make sure you inform us in the afterlife comment. That is where we can continue to keep each other informed of what is going on across the country. Portmore light went away from yesterday. Any lamp poles down in Portmore, Jeanette? Any of the JPS poles in, what's you call it, in Portmore? Any JPS lines down? Because wherever the JPS lines are down, it's going to take extra time restoring power to that community / parish. I think that's by, hold on. I think that by things are back to normal, Kanja will be twice as wealthy as he is now. Lord Jesus. Hallelujah. Here's stuff in face and finally get mango. Debbie and Atwin can't. Tongue, Lord Jesus. All me have left in the kitchen is 2 East Indian. I may have to ask them, do I eat on it tonight or do I save on it till tomorrow? I don't know. You know, when you have 2 total mango left and you have to play eeny, meeny, miny, more with them, or them something they are going. Eeny, meeny, miny, more mangoes. And that are going round here, so. But one of my friends in Portmore, St. Catherine, heard from him earlier today. He was fine. Not sure. I have to wait till my daughter goes down Brayton. The UK election was interesting for sure. At least the right wing didn't dominate. But another thing about the right wing, Lachlan, Reform UK, this party run by the UK's Donald Trump, Nigel Farage, because of the broken and disgruntled, mismanaged conservative, they have picked up over 10% of the national votes, and they will be sending members to parliament. Don't know if Nigel Farage will make it across, but certainly from the trajectory of the exit poll, his party, Reform UK, will be sending MPs to the parliament. So even though the right wing didn't get to dominate the election, there is still a new hike in the right wing with people such as Nigel Farage and Ann Whitcomb and the others. So when the results straighten out tomorrow morning, East Indian, you can get it by a Brixton, Peckham. Them time of the area, East Indian mango common to buy here. Brixton, Peckham, East Street. Yeah. East Indian mango common over here, them time of area. Oh God, be tired now. Murdo checking in from Fort Lauderdale. Have you heard anything of your family in Jamaica, Marie? Have you heard anything from your community? Good evening to everyone and the X. I hope if you're tuning in from Jamaica, you and your community weather the storm. If you're tuning in from abroad, I hope your relatives at home and your community weather the storm. Thank you all very much for watching. You're always supportive on the X. Thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much for your support. Yeah, man, when you come up places like Brixton, East Street Market, Peckham, you get East Indian and Julie. Yeah, East Indian and Julie. Right in front of Campbell McDonald's. There's a mini mart with a fruit stall outside. You can get East Indian and Julie there, so you can get it at Brixton. Several different stalls in Brixton, but them prices varies. But there's a African brother in the arcade, I think he's called Saeed. His prices are always good because him sell their Jamaican stuff. His prices are always good as well. Oh God, you have to shut your eye when you buy East Indian in Britain. You have to shut your eye. You have to literally shut your eye. It's not cheap. East Indian breadfruit, yellow yam. Don't even talk about yellow yam because yellow yam a Christmas sinting. Or in New York, yellow yam a Christmas sinting them there. Yellow yam a no sinting where you can get up and nyam like you grow it. Yellow yam a like Christmas cake in England. Yellow yam in England is like Christmas cake and a luxury. It was even expensive for middle class people and a luxury thing. So when you can't afford piece of yellow yam in England, you have to say thank God. You have to say thank God when you can't afford piece of yellow yam in England. Or you shop in Brixton, Jeanette. You have to say thank God. Yellow yam and a normal sinting and a sinting where you can eat all year round. You have to eat yellow yam like a Christmas come. Yes, yellow yam a once a year sinting in England. And a sinting one you can just get up every day so me feel like eat piece of yellow yam. Unless you decide to work for the yellow yam man. Unless when you go work, you just go there, go work for the yellow yam man. Other than that, you have to only eat it the once a year. A co-worker seemed excited to visit Jamaica. The follow-up question is it safe to visit? So much for brand Jamaica. I mean, it is safe to visit anywhere, to be honest. As I said to people, if them ask my opinion, I give them the information I have. I tell them what areas are risky or what areas are not, or sometimes in general, it's not really risky for tourists. It's risky for Jamaicans at home. Yes, fruits and hard food expensive in Brixton. You see how sweet potato when me buy, me can't afford the Jamaica sweet potato them. There is a Ugandan sweet potato, the one in the clear color skin like the normal potato them. Ugandan potato, Ugandan sweet potato, really nice. Because if I make sweet potato chips, I'd rather use the Ugandan potato. But hey, Jamaica, they're just here for Jamaica I come from. That alone make it expensive. That alone. But anyway, my people, me I go come go on my bed now. People out here have concern about safety in Jamaica. Me I come go on my bed now. I'm tired. I'm tired in my head just trying from there to wrap my head around the devastation. But the assessment continues, and we hope to hear something tomorrow from all of what our country has been through with this storm. Thank you very much for keeping our company this evening on the Global Television Network. We hope you can join us back here tomorrow when we continue to look at the aftermath of Hurricane BERYL. Good night from Global Television.